Hey guys, what's up? Just no freaking way here. I'm coming at you with a Kerbal Space Program commentary mission. Now, I think today what I'm going to just do is I'm going to try to make it to the moon and back. Now, I can pretty much guarantee that this is not going to happen, but I'm going to, from start to finish, just show you my best attempt, and we'll see how it works out. Now, we'll start out with the regular command module and parachute for re-entry. We'll get the separation decoupler and this. And so this will be our basic module for landing on the moon right now. So I'm just going to do everything start to finish on this. Like, you'll see like 100% of everything I do, including like the build and all that good shit. So this is what I think will be landing on the moon. We'll do my best to make sure that that happens. Now this will be our orbital thrusters. I'm going to put on 6, maybe 5. I will do 6. And that's going to propel us up and down through orbits. Move this up a little more. And now the outer layer, well, the middle layer, I guess. And before I do that, I'm going to put an SAS module on here because I always forget that. So, now starting up the middle layer. Okay. Now here I just put a bunch of jets on the outside, and this will be getting us out of the atmosphere and starting our orbital rotation. But I don't think that it'll be doing much in the way of making us accelerate, just judging by from how heavy this is. Let's link all these together. Yep. And we'll start with that one, and if we fail too early on, we'll put another coupling on there. So now I gotta put a shell of outside jets, and I'm just making this commentary while my roommate's off at his classes, and I feel like procrastinating my projects that I need to do by tonight. But I have like 11 hours to get them done, so not a huge rush. On the outside layer of these thrusters. Now I haven't, typically I do a few runs testing out the rockets, but I haven't, so I'm just gonna, do my best guess for these and see where we end up. Let's see, that looks about centered. And so, yeah, I think this will be our rocket. No tests or anything. It's gonna be, oh, actually, I forgot to do one thing. I gotta rearrange a bunch of these parts on the side. So we'll start with the outer shell. Yep. So right now, as it would happen is these are gonna fire, then these bottoms are gonna fire. I think I'm gonna actually modify that. I'm gonna make the sides and the bottom fire at the same time. I'm not sure how that'll affect the rocket. If we fail too quickly, I'll come back and change it. And then I'll break off all the side ones afterwards. And, yeah. That's what this modifying does, just changes the stages. And then once those break off, those 6 will fire. After those 6 fire, now what we need to do is we need to move these around. So break off, learn something. Let me just think for a second. Okay, so this is the center. Okay, this is the center shaft. That's what this layer is. Now what I want to do is I want to fire this jet. Okay, this is what I need to do last. Okay, perfect. Now let's see how this goes. Let's hope this doesn't like way too much. Turn on the SAS throttle up and launch. It's decent takeoff, but we're still spinning. Oh well, it's not terrible. It's not horrible considering it's an okay start. I mean, we're going pretty vertical, which for the start of the mission is what we want to do. accelerating pretty fast, which is also good. That's exactly what I want. And once I break off these outer solid fuel jets, we can stabilize slightly and, yeah. One thing I've been considering is putting a bunch of SAS modules on top of the solid fuel boosters to try to keep it in place. So break those off. That's still going, and then we should start decelerating a lot. As long as we just don't dip below 0 like that, that would just be worst case scenario. Turn on off the SAS module, hopefully to reset it. Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna stay going. The speed's gonna stop decreasing soon, and we'll keep accelerating upwards. So I got 4 of these to go through. I'm gonna have to reset my orbit because my trajectory is a little off here. And I think this is gonna crap out on me. Yep, I see we're tilting. Yeah, oh well. Let's try my SAS modules on here on the top. I'm not sure if this is gonna add too much extra weight, but it's worth trying. There we go. Let's see if that makes it any more stable. It shouldn't decrease from the thrust too much because they'll break off with the rest of them. Okay. Now we're still rotating, but we're staying more vertical, which is always a good sign. One thing I'm considering is putting on more wings, because that'll always make it easier to land on the moon. Because the wings actually provide a lot of stability when you're still in the atmosphere. But once they're in space, they don't do anything. But the reason they're on there right now is because they're supposed to be what we're going to land on when we hit the moon. So, just a fun fact for you. And break away. Okay. Back up a little bit so you can still see the stream of fire. And we're heading a lot more vertical than last time. We're going to reset the SAS module again. Okay, we stopped our rotation. Now we're going to let this get us more into the atmosphere before we start tilting it to 270. And then I'll show you a little bit more about the orbits that we are going to be going through. And you can see exactly what the different orbits do. Okay, so we're at 75.5 meters per second. We start accelerating again instead of decelerating. We got some more jets to go through. But so far we're on an okay pace. I haven't done this enough in the sitting to really have a reference for how this is going. Because I've only sat down and tried to make it to the moon a couple other times, and I never use other people's designs. Although it's fun to try other people's designs going to the moon, I always feel like I kind of cheated if I don't design the whole rocket for myself. So I saw one guide on how to get to the moon, and that's where I learned a little bit about the orbital paths and how to get to like exactly 270 degrees and fly around the Earth in that way, and how to increase orbits, which I guess you could kind of call orbit hopping and stuff like that. So that's what I've been working on. Now here we're gonna the second stage of fuels. So we're on this one right now, and then we're gonna start using these last 2 stages of fuel. And yeah, just went to that. Alright, and we're about to, yeah, we just exited the really low atmosphere. We're going pretty fast, so that's all good. Let's see, let's check. Now, what we're going to do is, you see this little arc right here? What the top is called apoapsis, or apoapsis. I have no idea how to pronounce it. But the idea is to get this ring, this hyperbole, or this parabola, that's the word. The parabola to actually encompass the whole Earth, because you'll see as we start going up, it'll widen. Then we start going sideways, it'll widen, and you'll see what I mean. Okay. So here we are. We are 23 kilometers above the Earth. 24, 25. Pretty good so far. Using up the last stage of fuel. I want to get to 40 kilometers above before I start doing any kind of tilt action here. And we're definitely going at good speed. At 40 kilometers, I'm going to start tilting us towards 270. Actually, just hit orbit, so now I think I'm going to start doing it now. So take off the SAS module and start tilting us towards 270 degrees, slowly. We'll turn it back on and we'll tilt every once in a while, more and more, until we get a good orbit going. The trick is, it becomes very unstable at a certain point, and once I turn on the solid fuel boosters, those are a lot more unstable and unpredictable in how they're going to fire. So I'll turn on the SAS module until we do that, and then once I release these and turn on the solid fuel boosters, we'll see how much more sideways we can get this. And there they go. So tilt us a little more. Start rotating, which is not fantastic to put up with. Tilting us towards 270. Yeah, there we go. Turn on the SAS module before we tilt below. And we tilted below, crap. Alright, that's fine because we're not going down anymore. Now I just got to restabilize it before I turn on the jets anymore. So turn off the SAS. And as long as we're still going upwards, this is fine. It's really tough to control a drift like this when the rocket's so big, you know what I mean? So we'll restable it back on horizontal at 270 degrees, and then we will fire off again. And getting close. Let's just fire it now, getting some stability. And there we are. Perfect. Now I just gotta hold it here. I'm controlling this by the globe at the bottom. I'm barely looking at the screen. Still heading up. We're not at the top of the apoapsis. Now that's what the parabola looks like right now. And the goal is to get that to turn into a ring around the world by thrusting this way. So we'll thrust towards the apoapsis horizontally around the Earth, and hopefully that'll turn us into a nice orbit. Turn off the SAS module because every now and then you have to fight against the SAS module because it always wants to push you towards where you're going. It's weird. It just acts like a giant gyroscope. Now I've got a lot of thrust, so we're definitely going to be able to get into orbit in time. It's just got to keep it stable the whole time, which is why it's risky looking at the pictures. Now you see how this is widened out a lot? Now eventually that'll turn into a whole circle around the Earth. And I just learned how to do this a couple days ago, so it's really cool to try out. Now, with any luck, due to orbit hopping, which is my name for it, I'm not sure the actual term for it, but orbit hopping, we can actually get into much higher altitudes on much lower fuel amounts. But it just takes a long time, and thanks to the increased warp function, where you can speed up time, you can just speed up the time it would normally take for the orbit to go around, where when typically you can get past the moon in a couple of minutes if you just go straight, you can get past the moon in much less fuel, but it'll take like 10 hours. It's crazy long. If you actually wanted to do this without warp, it'd be almost impossible. Like, almost just for the fact that I wouldn't have any patience for that. So, it's a very wide parabola we've got here. And I try to keep us completely level. And we're out of the atmosphere, so if I get us into an orbit, there's no air that's going to be pulling us down. Now, the good thing about when you return to the Earth, if we actually get to that point today, is you don't need to worry about slowing yourself down because the atmosphere will do that for you. Now, I'll show you all the little tricks I can of this that I've discovered while doing this. Now, you see we've almost made the ring come out of the other side of the Earth, and you'll see the periapsis when that comes. And basically the apoapsis is the farthest point in the orbit away from the body that you're orbiting, and the periapsis is the closest point in the orbit. And I've got to keep stabilizing this because basically trying to make us pass the equilaxis, and the more level this gets, the better the orbit. Okay, and there it is. There's the periapsis. It's just come out of the Earth, and that means we're in a pretty damn good orbit that it's staying so level. Now what I'm going to try to do is just going to spin around really fast in a second, like that, and that means we're going to be accelerating. Now what this is going to do is this is going to push the apoapsis all the way out to the moon, the lunar orbit, and we'll see that happen in a little bit. Whoa, that is really not where we're supposed to be. That's not good at all. Shoot. Darn it. So I'm going to bring us back here. It's 270, and I'm going to push us a little bit past it. And what that'll do is it'll hopefully bring it back and level out the orbit. Now you see the apoapsis is becoming a much larger ring. That's the furthest point away from the Earth at this point. Now once the apoapsis comes out to the lunar ring, what we're going to do is we're going to turn off all the jets. Alright. So it looks like we've stabilized it out enough now to be able to get, at the very least we'll get close enough to get caught in lunar gravity. So turn that on. Now the apoapsis is starting to move faster, so let's turn down the thrusters. And you see it's getting really, starting to move faster towards the lunar orbit. So SAS again. Back on. Yep, it's getting closer. You can see that the distance away from the Earth is always increasing. Let's turn this down a lot more now. Okay. Alright, now it's getting close to the lunar orbit again. And when it gets really close, we're going to have to start guesstimating. And that's not going to be too tough. Alright, I think we just overshot it. Well, actually, we just undershot it. Let's put on the thrusters a little bit more. In a second. Alright. There we go. And that looks pretty good. Moon altitude 4, 5. Okay, cool. Now what we're going to do is, since we're headed towards the lunar orbit, which is, I'm not even going to look at what it is. What we're going to do now is we're going to speed up time using the warp feature. So now we're going 50 times faster than normal time. We're going 100 times faster. We can't get to 1,000 times yet. Now we're going to 1,000 times faster. 10,000 times, back to 1,000. And you see now we are just about at the apoapsis and at the lunar orbit. Alright, so now we're going to zoom in here. Now the goal is, as soon as we hit the apoapsis, is we're going to increase the thrusters, and that'll space out this orbit and match our orbit in the opposite direction of the lunar orbit. So that's our goal here. Now the point is now to get us as close to the apoapsis as possible without making us overshoot it, because overshooting it isn't good. But we're still going, like, remember, right now we're going 50 times faster than normal. So it's going to be pretty easy to, it's almost like we're stopping there when we turn off the warp. You can see we can actually look once we use the zoom feature to get pretty damn close to it. And there's good, because we're going to need to go outside of the lunar orbit a little bit. Now we're facing the opposite direction because we need a burn in the same direction as our current path. And since our ship stayed in one motion, like our ship has not moved thanks to the SAS module, it stayed gyroscopically stable and hasn't turned with the orbit at all, so now we need to turn it around since we're now going in the other direction and point towards the moon. Yeah, we're really that close. And you can't even see the Earth. I don't even know where the Earth is. Just know it's like towards the sun. I don't know. Either way, we are about to hit the moon. Cool. I'm going to slow it down with the SAS module and get us into the forward direction. Okay, and there we go. Now let's turn on the thrusters. And you can see here what this is doing is it's widening out this entire orbit. You see it's widening out to match the lunar orbit. Now the goal is once that gets close enough to the moon, we can turn off the jets, and we'll let lunar gravity pull us close, and then all we have to really worry about is stabling thrusters. Now we have a decent amount of fuel left, so we actually just might be able to do this. Alright, so we're matching lunar orbit now. Cool. Now we're about to go our fastest point. We're about to pass the periapsis again. Alright, so let's turn off the jets. We're matched the lunar orbit again. And at this point we're going to crash into it, which is, believe it or not, exactly what we want. What we're going to have to do in a little bit is to modify our orbit again. But let's use our time warp feature again. Alright, and that's the path. Now that path is incorporating lunar gravity, and apparently the orbit that it would take us around would crash it straight into the moon, and then we'd actually escape the gravity based upon the speed that we're at. So what we're going to need to do is get a lot closer, but then what we're going to need to do is slow down to as slow as possible. Now we're going to do that by a lateral burn by completely resisting the path that we're on now. The moon looks pretty damn big now, doesn't it, compared to what it was? So we got to flip ourselves around again and almost stop in space. And then we have to let lunar gravity pull us in. And hopefully we have enough fuel left to slow us down to a stop by the time we hit the lunar surface. And then we have to have enough fuel left to jump off the lunar surface and be back home. So, another SAS module. Slow it down, get into the lateral section. Now we've got to burn exactly on the lateral. You can see we're actually going pretty fast towards the moon. Time warp times 1 instead of times 2. Alright, so now we're here. Now you can see our speed is right now 1.2 kilometers per second. We're going to try to get that down to about 200. We may not be able to do it with the fuel left on this, but that's fine. I'm going to get this more on the lateral side. Now this will hopefully bring us into a vertical fall directly into the moon, because you saw that we weren't going straight into the moon, we're actually going into a face, which is why we actually have to burn not completely vertical, or else we'd end up going around the moon. And it's pretty cool when you get into a lunar orbit for that, and that's what you want to do. But we're trying to land on the moon, which means we need to be going straight up and down, because if we at all land sideways, it's going to really be bad. Like, falling sideways towards the moon is just terrible to deal with. Alright, so we're still running out of fuel, and we have 500 meters per second still to slow us down. So we're going to eject that. We're going to slow this way down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to check the lunar projectile after this. Once we get to 200 meters per second, we're going to check the lunar, like where we're going to supposedly crash into the lunar surface now. Yeah, so that's almost vertical, which is great actually. Let's speed up time a little bit. Get us really close to the lunar surface, and then we'll worry about the final descent. We have to worry about it now, because now we're back up to 400 meters per second again. So we'll slow ourselves down again by doing another lateral burn. Cool. Alright, now again going almost vertical. The speed's going to constantly increase as we go towards the lunar surface, so that's one thing we have to be concerned about. So let's get really close now to the lunar surface. It's almost a vertical drop. We're going 400 meters per second, so let's slow it down again. This time let's get to 100 meters per second. Three, two, one, slowed. Okay, now you see we're falling pretty much dead vertical, which would be, it's perfect. Okay, and that's our distance above the lunar surface. Let's go back down some more. Our speed's up to 160 meters per second. 200 again. Alright, slow it down again. Now, I don't think we're going to be able to make it home on the fuel we have left. Just a prediction. But that's okay. because we've come a long way, and it's a good accomplishment for what we've got. Now we're going 30 meters per second. Let's check, increase the time warp to 5. Okay. Now that's the lunar surface. We're going to have to do another lateral burn. Okay, so we're on 120 now. Cool. Let's do a burn straight lateral so we can actually even it out. Yeah. So here we are, 6 kilometers above the lunar surface. Not sure if we're on a mountain or not, but can't exactly trust that we are exactly 6 kilometers above. So it's alright. Cool. There we go. 3 kilometers. Let's go back to warp 1. Slowly increase our meters per secondage. We don't want to decrease it too quickly, or else we might end up going back upwards. Whoa. Right. Let's get pulled back to the lunar surface. We're going really slow now, just meters per second. Oh, I thought I lagged up there for a second. That was worrying me. Came all this way and would have to start over. That would suck. Cool. Alright, here we go. Slow our descent down a lot more. Alright, that's pretty constant speed. That's perfect. Alright, just 600 meters above the lunar surface. Slow it down some more. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. Well, for what it's worth, this wasn't a bad trip out. It's just no trip back. And I don't think you guys will mind. This was a cool experience. Let's keep it under 14 meters per second as we touch down. And touchdown. There it is, guys. Lunar landing. We do not have enough fuel to get home. I don't even know where. Let's see. Where's the Earth in relation to us? Cool. But we are on the lunar surface, and that is the first time I've done that successfully. And I think it's cool that I got to share that with you guys. Actually, my first time doing it successfully too. Wow. We didn't even see the Earth. I wish we could speed up time right now, but we can't. Apparently we're under acceleration. But we're too close to the moon to accelerate anyway. But anyway, that was a really cool run through, guys. Let's lift off and see how close to the Earth we can make. Just point ourselves to the Earth and go. There we go. We're not getting away. We're just going to crash into the moon, unfortunately. Let's see. Yeah. Well, that's where we're going to land, but we have a pretty long fall in front of us. We're not getting away from the moon, but that's a cool path we're going to be going through. Alright, so warp times 5 and see how far we can get. We're not getting into lunar orbit, but you know, that was a fun trip, guys. I'm glad I got to share it with you. We've overshot the apoapsis on this, so we're going to crash back into the moon soon. That was fun. Guys, I hope you liked the commentary. Leave a rate, subscribe. I don't care. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys check out some of my other videos, and I will stay with you guys until I can crash into the moon here. So let's just watch the lunar lander crash, and then we'll see how it goes. And then I'll see you guys later. Here we go. Back to time warp 2. Another 5 kilometers. And they're still happy. Alright guys, it's fun commentary, and I'll see you guys later. Here they go. Alright guys, peace out. Let's see, any cool statistics? Here's the whole mission log. The parachute was the last thing to go. The parachute that was supposed to bring us home. Highest altitude achieved, 11 million meters. Highest speed achieved, 2.8 kilometers per second, 2.9 I guess, close enough. High speed over land. Well, that was cool. Peace out guys.